الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على الأنبياء والمرسلين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم. Thank you for coming. Just want to say, start off with a hadith which generally kind of embodies what this book is all about. Smiling in the face of your brother is charity. Commanding good and forbidding evil is charity. You're giving directions to a man lost in the land is charity for you. You're seeing a man with bad sight is a charity for you. Your removal of a rock, a thorn, or a bone from the road is charity for you. Your pouring water remains from your bucket into the bucket of your brother is charity for you. Now this goes to show that charity is not just about giving money. Charity is way more than that. And also, the idea of being a humanitarian is not only for those who work in the humanitarian sector. You can be a humanitarian in any way whatsoever. A humanitarian is simply somebody who wants to help promote the welfare of people. That is the definition. So regardless of where you go in life, regardless of whatever profession you are in, there is an opportunity for you to give back. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the greatest humanitarian of all time, and we should all look to follow his example by doing what we can to serve our community, serve our society. And that's what today is all about. We're not trying to turn you all into humanitarians, whatever that is. No, we're trying to turn you into charity workers. No. We're just trying to encourage you to keep your mind open, and wherever you go in your career, whatever world, whatever community you're in, just find a way to give back. And so now to introduce our first speaker. Now I met our first speaker, Saidul Haque, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, it's a long time ago now, subhanAllah. And ever since that time, every time I've spoken to him, it's just that kind of, you just get inspired, you know? Like somebody who kind of is so confident and so able to do some amazing community organizing work. Recently, I think they've helped UN migrants settle in Birmingham. They've increased the number of employers who pay the living wage at Citizens UK. And I really have been dying all these 2 years to try and get an opportunity for him to speak in front of you to inspire you all to give back to the community like the way he has. So Assalamu alaikum.
I'll use it because I'm going to be coughing in a minute. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair for the chance to be here with you this evening. If you've got an assignment deadline, you might be late because we're going to be here we will finish on time. Jazakallah khair for everyone for putting all the logistics on. Mashallah, the sisters over there having your meal, and everybody. I'm not going to pick on. I just want to make it very interactive. And I was a student here 20 years ago. Some of you probably just entering nursery. But I was a student at the Union Tower studying social policy and sociology. I must have been some of the last students, Muslim students, because I graduated in 2001, and a few months after 2001, 9/11 happened. And since then, I've been following what Muslim students have been going through, and it's harder and harsher and more difficult. But throughout my studies in sociology, and if you do any social sciences or any modules of social sciences, there's a lot of discussion about how the world is organized and how change happens. And I knew one thing in my essays in sociology was that if you talked about power, you got extra marks. So you knew how you had to get 61%. You just start talking about power in your essays. You know, you knew that. But I didn't understand a lot of the theories, a lot of the, and I'm going to annoy anyone if you're any one of these, I didn't understand feminism, socialism, and all of those things because I found them really complicated. I did essays on them, I found a degree on it. And what I found really helpful was the basics, and the basics of returning back to the Quran and Sunnah. You know, keeping it simple, keeping it straightforward. Originally from Bangladesh, I came to this country when I was a little boy, 5 years old. Moved to Birmingham during the Hands riots in 1985 with my sisters and my mum and dad. My dad, alhamdulillah, a couple of years ago retired as an imam. He was an imam in this city for about all that time, since 1985. So in a sense, I've been quite privileged to be able to grow up in a household of ulama. You know, the ulama, when they used to come and see my dad, I used to chill with them. You know, you can make funny jokes, but not in front of your dad. And the ulama in the room, you can chill out with them. And your dad's there, he's going to give you a smack when you think, right, get out of the room. So that kind of upbringing around some really, around the Quran and Sunnah, always I kept kind of coming back to it, even when, you know, when you're younger, not just when you're younger, when you're older and you kind of deviate. There's something that brings you back, and may Allah accept our iman and our amal. And so the university experience, because what I want to just talk to you about is something called community organising. I'm quite evangelical about it. You know, if I will talk to anyone who will listen for many, many years. So when I left university, alhamdulillah, I worked for a number of charities, a number of organisations about welfare rights, advocacy, campaign work. And I currently am the lead organiser for Citizens UK here in the West Midlands. Citizens UK, and I'll show you a video in a minute, is a charity that exists in a number of cities where we train people to win campaigns. We don't run food banks, we don't run youth clubs. We are a membership organisations. We have churches, mosques, community groups, universities and others who come together in a city or a town to do some really good work. In Birmingham, we're 6 years old, and in a moment I'm going to show you a video about what people have done in Birmingham. But what I want to do is I want to respectfully agitate you, you know. So I want to respectfully agitate you. If there's any Muslim socialists in the room, I want to start agitating you first, because I keep bumping into them in the city. You know, when Karl Marx said, religion is the opium of the masses, how'd you call yourself a Muslim socialist then? Anyway, the reason why I want to agitate you is that you here are amongst the most potential of youth leadership on the Muslim community here in the city. There's more people. I know that Islamic Society has got a large amount of following. So you are, whether you're going to be a dentist, or whether you're going to be a maths teacher, whether you're going to be an accountant or an economist, or a pharmacist, I'm just trying to figure out who I know was doing what, you're going to be, you know, the next generation of civil society professional leadership. And my pitch to you is Muslim communities and civil society need you more than ever. And therefore, during your time here at the university, you've got to try and make not just the best of your student experience until the rat race grabs you when you graduate and, you know, you've got doing 9 to 5 and commuting, but actually what is it that you think might be your impact during your young career until you lose your health and various other things. So I wanna get to anybody who's kindly given me more than half an hour. Abdul Wise and Anas and Ali will know. I will keep coming back to it. What is it? Now, in the Islamic Society, mashallah, you work so hard. You work so hard to look after new students who come. You work so hard to put on facilities and resources so that if you're a Muslim on campus, you don't feel isolated. When I was here on campus, I was a home student. So apart from praying Salah and praying Jum'ah and seeing some of my friends, I never hanged about on campus. I would go back to my neighborhood in Los Angeles. I spent more time in the neighborhood I lived in Los Angeles than I did on campus. And so I just want you to, during the course of my next few minutes, is to think about what is your leadership question? You know, what is it that you think motivates you that you're going to do when you go outside of university? Let me play this video first, just to explain to you what community organising is. Have we got
the blank
display on?
No,
on blank.
See, back in the days we had, you know, these overhead projectors that you put on and off. And I'm all this high-tech here. I'm only joking. I'm not old, you know. It's just what it is. This is the story of civil society building power to make change. Founded in 2013, we are a non-partisan organisation of member faith, education, trade union and community institutions. We do not support any political party, but we take voting and democracy seriously. We are citizens from diverse communities acting together for the common good. Our mission is to build the capacity of people to act for what matters to their families and institutions through community organising. In 2014, we persuaded NHS commissioners to ensure 16 and 17-year-olds won access to specialist mental health services in Birmingham.
The answer to both of your questions is yes.
In our neighbourhoods, our schools persuaded shops and businesses to act as safe havens to make local streets safer. In 2015, here in this very hall, we launched a national campaign to resettle Syrian refugees from UN camps, persuading Birmingham City Council to welcome 50 people. And we congratulated employers in the region for paying the real living wage. In 2016, we secured tertiary housing surgeries in our private schools. Birmingham City Council pledged to resettle a further 500 Syrian refugees. Police Commissioner and the West Midlands Fire Service became living wage employers. In 2017, we held the region's largest ever civil society assembly when 968 people set out priorities for a relationship with the office of our new regional mayor.
Are we going to work together? Are we going to take on some limits? No, the answer to that is yes.
Here are the reflections of our youngest leaders.
Make sure people opportunity to live their life. The men should make people get more jobs and they can. I would like to give people better houses that they can feel comfortable and safe in. The men should work together to get the community safer.
In a nutshell, since 2013, through the habit of training leaders, doing public action and building accountable relationships with those in power, we strive to make our neighbourhoods safer, our families better off, and our region a place of welcome, focusing on the world as it is to achieve the world as it should be. That short video is just a clip about what community organising is, and you would have recognised the great hall that everyone here is going to graduate in. So if you're a student here, you're going to graduate in that great hall. I remember when I graduated, my dad went crazy. He memorised the whole anthem, the understood Danish Shabani. You know, he sang it through. You know, he was so proud. But the thing was, I graduated in that hall twice. I did my master's some 10 years after I graduated. And came back, and I didn't feel that hall represented me, or my friends, or my community, or where I was from. You know, it felt like a different world to the world of Birmingham that I was familiar with. And then, mashallah, in 2016, when we had, 16 and 17, but in 17, when we had 1,000 people in that room, you saw the pictures. You don't see those people in the University of Birmingham normally. You don't see those school kids, you don't see those Uncle G's here in the university. And what I want to do is to give you an invitation to learn about community organising, and in your time here at the university, be interested in participating and getting your LinkedIn profile sorted out, getting your references up to date. What we found in terms of Muslim community, Citizens UK had run a public commission on Islam participation in public life. There is an urgency. The urgency is people are retreating from being involved in public life if they're Muslim because of a whole range of factors, not just because of Islamophobia rooted in some of the stuff, but you know, the Trojan horse effect here in Birmingham still affects people who might want to be a school governor. You know, they are reconsidering whether they should do that, whether they should sit on a board, whether they should even be a local councillor. And so we've had evidence in Citizens UK from a year's commission that it's tougher. And I just want to, before I propose action, I want to share one thing. A lot of my friends, when we graduated, mashallah, we find solace in doing some comfortable charity giving, which is really good. Which is like, you know, I got friends, I don't know how many, you know, he's as big as me, but he does the 5K runs for charity. You know, he's doing one in April to raise money for a masjid in Tamworth right now. And there's a huge amount of giving and charity giving that happens, that people do. But there is a need for your talent as young, upcoming Muslim leaders in our communities, that the community needs you. I worked with a young brother from a university, not this one, I bet I'm not revealing names. He was a student union president. Did some amazing work with Citizens UK, you know, on campaigns on the stuff around Syrian refugee resettlement. And he graduated from Nottingham. So now narrows down to 2 universities, isn't it? Now you can Google it, find out who was the student union president then. And he came back to Birmingham, and he's graduated, come back to Birmingham, and he says, I still want to do some community organising. And I asked him, tell me about your story, your situation. His mom does 3 jobs, his younger brother is unemployed, and alhamdulillah, you know, he's got a very good degree from Nottingham University. And what I couldn't understand was why he said, he wanted to, I said to him, look, there is a huge need. I don't know if anyone knows Birmingham, but if you know Birmingham, there's a place called Newtown. It's one of the poorest neighborhoods in the city. There is a huge need for your talent. There is a huge need because, you know, after Taraweeh last year, after Taraweeh, a 14-year-old boy who came out of Taraweeh was shot in the ankle, right? And he's terrified of reporting who it is because he knows what it is. There is a huge need for your style of leadership. And I said, go and talk to people and listen to their stories and use your technique and tools. Where did he end up? He ended up volunteering for the Labour Party. I'm not knocking the Labour Party, but he ended up volunteering to spend time with the local MP in the Labour Party, not with the kind of very people who need his help. So what I'm trying to argue is that when you graduate, your talent is really important. People need your talent. It's not enough to focus your talent on your career. Yes. So when you, brother, mashallah, graduate as a dentist, you're going to be amazing, mashallah. But there needs to be something more than you just being a dentist. You know, there needs to be something, you know, around you, just not near, from around the corner from where you live. I'm not going to tell you where you live. You know, one young lad stabbed another young lad last week and stabbed 2 other people who came to the rescue of the young lad who's now dying. There's a Somali 16-year-old young man dead because someone came out to come and stab him in front of people in his college. And then when 2 people from the bus stop came to aid and help them, he stabbed them too. What I'm trying to say, this isn't a politician's problem. This isn't, you know, the council's problem. This isn't the police's problem. This should be your problem. And what breaks my heart is the talent you have in here and how we are sleepwalking. So when we, you know, you heard about the Syrian refugees coming to Birmingham doing the resettlement campaign. Originally, we persuaded Birmingham City Council to resettle 50 people. They didn't want to do it. They said yes in the University of Birmingham Great Hall. The leader of the council didn't want it. There's a long story about how we made them do it. They then now agreed to do 500 people. And the tragedy of us, when we were organising a campaign on this, the vast majority of people who campaigned to make it happen were our Christian brothers and sisters. And when I spoke to a lot of Muslims, you know, they were, mashallah, very happy, and I'm one of them, and I still do it, to send money to the camps, to support people who are trying to give humanitarian, which is absolutely fundamental. When I said we got this opportunity for our city to stand up and take people when they should be you know, something. They're not doing anything, but take something directly from the UN camps. We need your help. And there were very few Muslims in that room. Because it's easier for you to put on an amazing colored t-shirt, for you to go to a charity evening of Gus Khan or anybody else trying to raise money. It's easier to do that very interactive entertainment type giving or participating than to do that long haul to worry about that boy who just got stabbed, to how do we get that family from that camp all the way here? It's easy because we react to instant emotion. So it's easy. I mean, I have friends who will, and I'm not looking at them. We need to do the fundraising. But you guys in here have got more talent than that. I understand standing and collecting donations is really important. But we need you to do more. And this is what I'm calling for. I'm asking if the Islamic Society here will allow a chance to do a 1 hour, 1.5 hour workshop on what community organising is. Because right now in this city, right now in Birmingham, we need some really talented people to join negotiation teams. So I'll tell you what we need. I was just speaking to a brother earlier. There's a big worry, and my nephew's one of them. He graduated last year. Okay, he's got 2-1 in engineering from this university. He's struggling to get interviews. And he swears by it. He says, you know, Uncle, I'm telling you, it's because of my name. You know, he says, I put lots of applications in, You know, when we were younger, if you got a University of Birmingham degree, you were like, amazing. You were like, you know what, that lad's done really well. I'm not saying this is going to happen to everybody, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with my nephew. So he's not getting called for an interview. But one of the things we want to ask for this year, and Abdul Wise was telling me about this last year, that students were worried about it. One of the things we want to do is if you agree, we want to persuade a major employer in Birmingham to do name-blind applications, which is take on applications for their graduate programs or any other programs where you don't have to reveal your name. Okay. Now, we think there are a couple of employers, that big employers we can persuade. And there is a big hospital trust that we're talking to in conversation. But what it needs, it doesn't need a guy who's got a job to say, you know, this is really important. It needs you here. So if there's anybody who will be willing to be part of what we call a negotiation team, that we will set up the meeting with the chief executive to go and persuade the chief executive. And we want to know, can you negotiate with the chief executive to make it happen? If you can't make it happen, you mess it up for everybody else. So this isn't about putting your red t-shirt on and collecting a donation, although we will still ask you to do that, because you need to do that. This is about, what is your leadership capability? If we put you in a room with the chief executive as an employer of 2,000 people, can you persuade that chief executive as to why it's important to do name-blind applications? That's just one of them. And if you manage to do that, we then have another invitation, is that we have got a meeting with Andy Street, the regional mayor. Can you persuade Andy Street to tell other employers to do the same thing? More importantly, as an employer himself of the West Midlands Combined Authority, can you persuade him to do it? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I would like to request, I'm sorry I haven't been able to spend more time with you, but I would like to agitate you, because you here in the University of Birmingham are the front line of youth leadership in this city. You matter a lot. You know, there are other people in other universities. I'm not saying you're the only one, but you have so much to give to this city and civil society in general. I kind of feel when you become accomplished doctors, engineers, and all of those things, which are absolutely fabulous and really important, and you are going to help many, many people, I kind of feel like we're missing out, and we miss out. So you are that mother who lost a 16-year-old child last week in college, who was doing his course on A-levels. You know, she wanted her son to be like you here in this room. She wanted the not just her, the whole family wanted their child to let you know, buy your arm off for her son to be here, not in the grave. I'm making it sentimental because when you talk to these families, it's truth. When you talk to any of the families that we work with, it's truth. I'm trying to end with this weight on your shoulder, you know, which is along with what you do with your studies and what you accomplish, what is your agency for change? And if you allow me at some point, well, I will speak to brothers and sisters here, we'd like to spend 90 minutes unpacking it. Saidul Haque. I'll take questions.
We will have time for short Q&A at the end, inshallah. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask at the end. Yes, as I mentioned, we have all been so blessed by having education. It would be a shame if families used it just for ourselves, you know. But yeah,